everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fat Loss Basics. Hope you guys are doing good. Alrighty. It is a less cold but snowy Monday here in Michigan. I know you're hearing this on Tuesday. It is supposed to warm up into like the mid-20s, which honestly feels like almost like a heat wave. Like the cold is not trying to eat my face, which is really wonderful. So we got that going on. Let's see. Just my husband starts a new job literally today. He's at his new job. I haven't really talked a lot about this. It kind of came out of a whirlwind of space, like an adventure of did not anticipate this happening, and here we are. So pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. This episode is going to be a little bit raw. I don't know. I might cry. Who the fuck knows? It is a possibility as I start to talk about it and emotions start to come from these things that I'm talking about, that it's possible. Anything's possible. So let's just go ahead and dive in, because why the fuck not? Okay. So we are talking today about getting fed up with your own shit. And I talk a lot about this, like on Instagram. You'll see me sometimes, like one day you're just going to get fed up with your own shit and fucking change or decide that you want to do something different. And I'm going to be super honest. So yesterday, I took my monthly photos. And if you've been here for a while and this is like not your first episode, hello, welcome back. If you are new here, just kind of bear with me as I explain a little bit what's going on. But I've been talking about, I've done a couple different things the last 2 years, really trying to get off this weight that I put on when I hired a coach and gained 30 pounds in 3 months. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get real serious. And then life, right? Life always happens. But here's what I'm going to say. I took my monthly progress photos yesterday, something that I've gotten away from doing. I haven't been doing that or taking my measurements. Probably something I should get back into doing. I used to take them weekly. Now I'm taking them monthly. So we'll see. I might get back into a weekly routine. It might help me with a little bit more with accountability, but we shall see. But anyway, so I took them and I looked at them. And I woke up and I got dressed in the things that I take my photos in and took my pictures. And I was disappointed. There was no change. And I'm going to be super honest, because why would it change when you're not doing the things that you need to do? Now, it's not that I'm doing nothing, but I'm not doing all of the things that I need to do. Now, again, I'm going to preface this with this. I am 9 years in. I know the things I need to do. I need to do them. Blah, 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 blah. You guys, for me personally, okay, I'm going to tell you this. I know that I can track my food. I know that I can get in my movement. I know that I can drink water. I know I can do all these things. I've done them for years prior to anything else that I ever did. I built up those habits. They were just things that I did. They just became who I was. I didn't have to overthink and complicate things. So anyways, the reality is I haven't been doing the work. I've been stuck in this pattern. I've been running in this loop, if you will. But once I took these photos and I put them in my little pic collage and nothing changed, I'm not going to lie that it hurt. My feelings were definitely hurt. It fucked up my mood for the morning. I got upset with myself. I was kind of pissed off at myself. And not because my body looks the way it does, right? But just because when I'm honest with myself about it, you didn't do it. You didn't do the things. You didn't follow through. You didn't, be the promise keeper that you claim you are. And I'm, a while ago, I have no idea what episode it is, but if you scroll back to almost 2.5 years ago, I did a whole episode on feeling like a fraud. Because that's sometimes how I feel, where I preach all these things, but am I doing them? Sometimes no. Sometimes yes, but sometimes no. And so this definitely hurt my feelings yesterday morning when I did this. And I've been here before and I know better, quote unquote, right? And yet I'm still doing these things. I'm still not following through on the things that I said I was going to do. And so we were sitting at the gym yesterday and I had kind of I was kind of short with my husband a couple of times yesterday morning. And I was just kind of like, yeah, my photos really got in my head. He's like, yeah, I kind of figured as much. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm just really upset. Like, I'm really upset that I, for some reason, am having a harder time. And I don't understand why this time is harder. And my husband, who always has to have a solution to your problem because he's a fixer. He'll just fix things for you. That's just his personality. He tried to be helpful, but it wasn't helpful because the reality is the answer that he gave me isn't the truth. It would make me feel better if it was the truth, but it's not the truth. And because at the end of the day, he's trying to be helpful, but how do you answer a question that you really don't have an answer to? Like, why is this harder? Like, why is this so difficult for me this time? So let me tell you, taking progress photos when you haven't made progress, that hurts. That really hurts. And you're going to notice right now, so normally what I want to be doing in my podcast episodes is sort of giving you a different range of like what we do in different phases of the diet dropout method. And right now I'm having a really hard time moving out of the awareness phase because I feel like that's where I am right now. Like I'm kind of peeling back all these layers and shining the light into the dark corners. And so you're going to hear a lot of podcasts right now that are more awareness-based podcasts, which is the very first phase of the diet dropout method. And that's because I'm resonating with it hard. I'm feeling it really hard right now. And so talking about the foundations phase just doesn't seem enlightening to me. It doesn't seem exciting. Okay. So this is why you're going to hear a lot of these awareness pieces. But when you are taking your progress photos and you haven't made progress, this is awareness. Okay. And you stand there and you take the photo and you compare it and it doesn't look any different. Same body, same shape, everything is the same. And logically, you're like, yes, I understand. Because when you look at my food logs, I did not do what I was supposed to do. Okay. But logically, you can get around there. You weren't consistent. You didn't, do the things. The weekends were a little bit more loose than they should have been, right? Did you really get in the amount of steps that you needed to get in? This is one that's becoming a crux of mine, is just getting bored and stopping. And I can't keep doing that. And so I haven't been prioritizing my steps, things like that. But seeing it versus just logically understanding, like don't expect change versus there is no change, it hits a lot different than just knowing, okay? Than just knowing. There's a part of you that hoped it would be different. Just something, just some small little thing, maybe something that you didn't even know would happen, but it didn't, right? And you hoped that it would, even though you didn't do the things and you didn't earn it technically to change, right? And that's kind of in your face annoying, almost. It's like, here's a mirror of the last month, 2 months, 3 months, however long you've been stuck. And now you cannot unsee it. You can't change that, right? So it definitely hurt my feelings, which kind of sounds dramatic in a way, but it is what happened. It affected my mood. It changed the way I responded and reacted to my husband and probably even my kids. And I didn't even realize it, right? And I looked at these photos and I was really bummed. I was really disappointed, not in my body, but in myself, right? In the choices that I chose to make. Okay. And that disappointment then turned into frustration. And the frustration then turned to anger. And then here we are again. Why am I here again? Right? I'm mad at myself. I'm angry at myself because I know what to do and I'm not doing it. Right? I have the knowledge and the tools and the experience. And somehow I'm still fucking stuck in this pattern. Here I am, another month gone by and nothing changes. The last 2 years have been the same fucking rigmarole. And I just sat with myself for a second and let myself be a little bit mad. Because I'm here again in this pattern. I'm in this loop, in this place where I know what to do. I just need to do it, but I'm not. And I've been here before. And honestly, the last 2 years, many times, right? I've had quite a few of these. I'm done with my own shit moments. If you've been here a while, you knew that I was doing the Tim Hortons until I hit X pounds, until I hit 100 and whatever pounds. I wasn't going to get Tim Hortons. That fell through. Then I was going to try this thing over here. That thing fell through. I actually hired a coach back in June, stopped working with that coach. And it's like, I've had these moments multiple times over the last 2 years where I'm just like fed up and I'm like, okay, I'm in it. I'm back on track. I got to figure this out. The last week and a half or so has felt a little bit different. And I can't explain exactly the difference in why does this time feel different than the last times, right? So I've done this before, obviously. Okay. I know what I need to do. I know what works for myself. I know what I need to eat and how I need to eat for myself. I know how to structure my day. I understand the foundations of health. I have them, right? Why is this not easier for me? What the fuck? Why, what is wrong with me? Like, that's where I feel like I am. Like, what the fuck's wrong with me? This should be easier, but it's not. It feels actually harder. And the one thing that my husband said yesterday was, well, you are older. I said, yeah, but that's not it. Like, if we're going to be super honest and transparent, like, am I doing all the things that I'm supposed to do? No. Cool. So that's the problem, right? And again, this was him trying to be a helper and a fixer and just fix things for me and tell me what the problem is, even though I don't agree with that. Sorry, be on. I don't agree with that being the problem. And I am yawning, by the way, not because I'm bored, tired, or don't want to be here. But you guys, this ignites my nervous system to talk about freely like this. Yawning, fun fact. Yes, it is a mirror thing that we can do, but also it is a way of your nervous system regulating itself. Okay. Just a heads up. So I've done all this stuff, but it feels harder. And I don't know if it's actually harder or I'm just more aware of all the little things that go into place, right? I might be just a lot more like, I understand how hard this is. This is hard. Like, this is not an easy process. Simple. Yes. This is not easy though. Right? And so I've had so many of these moments over the last however many years at this point, 2 years, that they're just not carrying the same way. It's like, yeah, I'm tired of my own shit. Okay, we're going to start again. But I'm kind of tired of being tired of starting again. Right? And maybe seeing these photos was the exact thing that I needed that kind of made it a reality check for me, going, oof, man. I don't know about this. And I don't know if that is it or what, but something definitely has shifted over the last week and a half. So what I am doing is I need to be honest about the food intake. And I understand a lot of people are going to tell me that it's your hormones, it's your gut, it's your thyroid. I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, it's your age. No. If you're not honest about what you're doing with your food, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm tracking my food. I need to be honest about what I'm doing with my food. That is where I am at. Now, that does not mean that everybody needs to go out and this is where everybody else is. As I told you, I am very capable of tracking my food. I did it. I've done it. I've also not done it. I understand how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, where to do it, all the things. So tracking food might not be the place that you need to begin. So understand that. So if you're listening to this, like, I'm not ready to track my food. Cool. Maybe you just need to eat protein at breakfast, or maybe you just need to drink more water, or maybe you just need to go for a walk and get some movement in. Maybe you need to breathe a little bit better before you eat your food. Maybe you need to not be fight and flight all the time. Maybe you need to manage your stress a little fucking better, right? You need to start where you're at, not where I'm at, where you're at. Something that we always talk about in the diet dropout method. But I'm much past this, just eat protein for breakfast or get in a walk or a water, right? I already understand this. I've done it. I need data. I need information. I need the feedback because I need to see what I'm actually consuming. I need that accountability. So I need to be tracking my food. Not forever, not as a punishment, not because I'm obsessed. I need the feedback. And if you haven't listened to last Friday's episode, highly fucking recommend it because we talk about like the feedback that you don't really want, but you need. Okay. But part of what I'm trying to figure out still right now is why. Like, why am I having such a hard time doing this? And I've spent like the last 24 hours really kind of like getting into the gritty of like, why? Not for any other reason, to understand, right? Not to be mad at myself, angry at myself. This is where I get really hard. Okay. I'm trying to like clearly regulate. But there's a piece of this that feels like complete self-sabotage. When after I put on all that weight and my husband transitioned home, quit his job, my business, honestly, it tanked. Like I lost clients. I couldn't get clients. It was awful. It was terrible. And I was so self-conscious. And I almost felt like, in a way, I was punishing myself. I was punishing myself for doing what I did, right? Hired a coach, gained 30 pounds in 3 months. And my body changed not in the way that I thought it was gonna. And I'm not sure I really ever have yet forgiven myself or processed fully through that. Right? For trusting somebody else, for not listening, for letting it happen. And I think there's a piece of me that's kind of holding on to that. Like, Sarah, like, why did you do that? And instead of allowing myself to change again and just to go, just, you know what to do, go ahead, execute it, right? It's about execution at this point. It's like you're telling yourself or telling myself like, yeah, but you don't deserve that anymore because, you know, you already knew better and you did it anyway, or you weren't honest during that time. So you shouldn't be, you know, healthy again, or you shouldn't lose this weight because blah, blah, blah. And I don't fully understand, right? I don't fully understand what's going on subconsciously, but there is this piece of me that keeps coming around that instead of just forgiving myself, I'm just still, I can't believe I did that. What is wrong with me? Why did I do that? Why did I let that happen? And I can't let it go. It's like, I cannot let it go. And I'm holding on to that because what would that mean if I let it go? What would that mean about me if I finally forgave myself for doing that? What would that look like? What would that mean? And so it feels like I'm keeping myself there, right? It's like this piece of me doesn't believe that I deserve to make progress. I'm scared maybe to trust myself again because it's like, well, did you just see what you let yourself do under the guise of another coach? Nonetheless. Am I scared of being successful again? What is that going to look like? I don't know, right? I have no clue exactly the underlying thing is, but I can feel it. And I think this is partly why it feels so much more hard. I had the last time 32 years of shit, right? But then when you finally get that gold, if you will, when you finally get a taste of what that is and you let it go on your own, when you let it go for I don't even know what reason, that's hard, right? Because it's not about just doing the work. It's about, now I got to figure this part out of me, because if I can't figure out why this is so much more difficult, and I already, it's definitely a mental thing for sure, then I'm never going to get there. And even if I get there, I'm probably going to end up right back where I start, right? So what I want to get across here is I don't have to understand every little fucking piece of this yet. What I do need to know is that there's something else there. Okay? There's something else there. And even if I'm still mad at myself, and even if I'm still working through this whole 30 pounds in 3 months bullshit, and even if I don't fully trust myself because it's like, what the fuck were you doing? I have to just remind myself that I deserve what I want, that I deserve this, even if I fucked it up before. And I think that's part of it. Like, I think that I just like, why did I do that? What was I thinking? I hated feeling this way. Why would I ever go back to this? Why? Because staying here isn't helping. It's not helping anything about what's going on in my head, how I feel about myself. Staying here is just staying here. And I'm fucking tired of just being here. So when we have these like, I'm so tired of my own shit moments, right? You are so done. You saw those photos and you understand the pattern that you're in. And you're like, that's it, I'm done. And then you feel the shift. But then a few days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months or now or a couple of years later, and that fed up feeling goes away. Right? Looking at the shock and awe of the photos, it goes away. And you're kind of back in these same old patterns, making the same dumb choices. And I say they're dumb because if anything that you do doesn't align with your goals, it is dumb. Why are you doing it? The choices that I have been making are dumb. And it's not like I got off the treadmill and didn't finish my walk dumb. It's like, why are you drinking so much alcohol dumb? Like, this is not helpful. This does not even align with anything that you're doing. That's dumb. Think about what you're doing, right? Because the fed up moments don't actually change anything. It just makes you feel something. And feelings don't create change, because if it did, well, when we're real motivated, we'd be real motivated. And somehow even when we're not real motivated, it's like, eh. Or when we are real motivated, it's still really difficult to go do. Oh, I really put on this face of motivation. Right? Because feelings don't create change. Action does. Movement does. Forward motion does. So I'm not waiting for whatever this feeling is. It's fine. It can stick around. I don't know exactly why I'm self-sabotaging myself. I do think it's part of it. I'm just going to act. I'm just going to take control of what I can, how I can, when I can, right now. And I'm going to remind myself in a week, remember those photos. Those photos hurt your feelings, and they're just photos. The reality of the truth sucks. It just sucks. The reality of the truth just fucking blows. It just fucking blows. So maybe you're listening to this going, man, I've been here. I've taken the photos. I've felt the sting. I've hired the coach. Right? I got it. I feel you. I see you. I am you. Maybe you've hired a coach in the past. It didn't go how you wanted. Maybe you trusted someone else and nothing changed the way you thought it was going to go, right? Maybe you're punishing yourself for acting a certain way or doing something, and maybe you're not even sure why, right? Or maybe your story is completely different than mine. But for some reason, you're still self-sabotaging, and maybe you don't even know you are. You have some belief in you that you just don't deserve it. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have all the answers. I'm just one girl in her office recording a podcast, being honest about a lot of things that most people are not honest about. I'm still figuring it out. I don't have every answer that exists on this planet. But I also understand that you don't have to wait until you get it all or have every little answer to take action. You can do that right now. Even being mad at yourself, even if you're still working through some shit, even if you don't fully trust yourself, you can still take action. And your action can look different than mine. It doesn't have to be like me. It can be doing something, whatever that thing is. Maybe you do need to just stop drinking alcohol, right? That's a hard line that I've been putting on my list right now, is the booze, right? I think a lot of, again, I'm going to be super honest. A lot of the last 2 years, I've been using it to cope. So here we are. Right? So you might need somewhere else to begin. That's fine. Maybe you just need to eat protein. Maybe you need to drink more water, right? Who knows what that thing is going to look like for you, right? Start where you currently are, not where you think you should be, not where somebody else is, not where I am, but where you are. And then you just take one next step. One next step. So you're going to become the woman that takes action anyway. When the photos hurt, when you don't understand why you're self-sabotaging yourself, when you're still working through it, when you don't have all of the answers, you just start. You just take action. You just do the next best decision. And that is enough. So that's what I'm doing. I made it without crying. Thank God. Whew. Okay. If that resonated with you, please screenshot, share it, because you want to know what? This is what people don't talk about. People out here are all like willy-nilly about all these different fucking things about weight loss and fat loss and this loss and that loss and whatever else. Nobody's talking about this part, how hard this is, how tough this is. Even from a coach's perspective, how difficult it can be. So, yeah, screenshot, share it, review it, rate it, however that works. It helps me get into the ether world of the world. So that's super helpful. Alrighty, you guys. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Again, the Diet Dropout Club is coming. So that is not up and running yet, but it will be, and you will be able to get in. There will be a link in the show notes probably within a week or so where you can drop in. This is for where all of my master classes are going to be held. This is going to be where all the challenges, so walking challenge, water challenge, movement challenge, all the things in there. And most importantly, a community that understands, and we will be rotating through the Diet Dropout method in certain ways during each week and each month. So outside of that, I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. I will catch you on the next episode.